Lafarge is a huge international cement-making company that has a cement kiln or a cement plant located in Queens, near Ravenna in Albany County, New York. Unfortunately, they are located directly across the street from a large public school. They typically would use coal as their heating source, and they'd pay for the coal, and unfortunately the coal pollutes the air also, particularly carbon emissions. They could use gas, but they don't. But currently they burn coal, and what they're trying to do is make money by accepting waste materials. So they wouldn't have to burn as much coal, saving resources for them. And secondly, they would receive money to accept all of this waste material. So this is all about a big company wanting to make more money. It's not about protecting the environment or doing anything that's more environmentally sustainable.
My name is Mike Ewall. I'm the founder and executive director of Energy Justice Network. We're a national organization supporting community groups around the U.S. fighting dirty energy and waste facilities. One thing that really struck me was when I first saw the map of how this high school is sandwiched between this humongous limestone mine and this giant polluter that, when I first looked into it, was one of the biggest air polluters in the entire state of New York. Now, this was before their modernization in 2017, and Lafarge likes to make the case that, oh, they're much cleaner now. Of course, they were forced by EPA to clean up and modernize their facility. But this data from the state of New York, which is for the next year after their modernization, this is 2018 air emissions data, the latest available from the state of New York. And Lafarge is still, out of 351 facilities that the state has data on, #1 in 14 different toxic pollutants. A lot of these are polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons that are known to cause cancer. #2 in arsenic. #3 in benzene, which is also cancer. They're #3 in lead, for a facility to be emitting more lead and mercury, things that affect the ability to learn and think, is just crazy. #6 in benzoapyrene, which is the thing that everyone knows in cigarette smoke is what causes cancer. Lafarge made the case to the town board of Queens that adding tires to burning coal would decrease their emissions. What we found when we looked at all the available data, including the data that Lafarge shared, is that on average, most pollutants increase. There are about 20 pollutants that increase when you add tires to the mixture of coal burning, and only 2 that on average tend to decrease. And so this is a lot of toxic pollutants, a lot of toxic metals, dioxins, acid gases, things that directly harm human health, causing cancer, birth defects, learning disabilities, and all sorts of serious problems for human health.
We're into the 10th year of our ownership of this home. And we came here because of the Hudson River. I came here because I work in tourism. We all know there's no borders that keep toxic fumes or smoke or anything from burning objects. So what we're concerned about is the air quality that's going to be absolutely challenged by more burning of objects that are just not safe to burn. There's 1,788 reasons to not have tire burning in the Lafarge plant. And that's the population, the most recent count of the student population in the middle school and the high school directly across the street. My concern is that the children are going to have health effects from this. In particular, ironically, the school spent several $million on a brand new athletic facility a few years ago, which includes a football field, a track, and the kids are going to be out there doing their physical education classes, breathing even more heavily than in the past, and they'll be, unfortunately, in the waft of the tire burning residue. Problematic to me for the kids' health. It seems to me that at this point the political deck is stacked so much in favor of the people who want tire burning that the local politics is never going to solve the problem. It's going to take the Albany County to override the local special interests who very clearly bought the last election. They promoted their own slate of candidates. They worried people about job loss, and they won, and they intend, it appears, to overturn the recently passed Clean Air Bill. And it's going to take the county to exercise the muscle and the mature wisdom to change things, to make sure that they can't override that Clean Air Bill.
My name is Sarah Pruxma. I live in Queens, New York. My husband and I bought our home roughly 2.5 years ago. I'm an artist, curator, wildlife enthusiast, and an avid gardener. My husband and I are also expecting our first child in just a matter of weeks, and we're very excited for this new phase of our life. The clean air law is very important to myself, my husband, so many of our friends and neighbors, because we live here. We depend on the quality of the water and the air to be safe. For my firstborn, I want to know that he's going to have the best chance of life, that he's not going to be infected by these toxins. I certainly don't want him growing up breathing in poisons. People who are speaking up for the Clean Air Act are being harassed and intimidated. My husband and I have been victims of harassment for months on end. We've even been mailed feces directly to our home address. We had a Facebook page that was called Citizens for Queens, and we wanted to promote prosperity and health and positivity in our town. We ended up taking our page down because there was a group of people who would constantly harass us, and online, and it also began in person as well. We ended up taking the page down just for our own safety. But I still feel it's important to speak up and advocate, because if we're not proactive, then people are going to think that we don't care. And we really do care. I support industry. I know we need jobs, but we don't need to be burning hundreds of thousands of tires per year and bringing in garbage from out of state. That will, from what I understand, be more cost effective for them. They need to be thinking of much more than themselves. I really hope the legislators will speak up for the small people. We don't need to go 50 years down the road and learn that, oh wow, too bad we didn't pass that law.
I'm Barbara Heinzen. I'm living just over the border in New Baltimore on Route 144. My house is on the Hudson River, where I have about 19 acres that I am managing for improved biodiversity and environmental benefit. When I came here, I just finished writing a book on how do we create an ecological society for the future. How do we include environmental benefit in our economic decisions? So I wanted to learn, first of all, how do you manage a habitat for high biodiversity? And then how do I, as a small landowner, get rewarded for doing so? Can I get paid a fee for increasing the population of butterflies and birds in my small acreage? Could anybody who has a few acres get rewarded for making it a healthier habitat for wildlife or for improving the watershed? So that was the question I came with. And that's why I bought this place. I was struck when I was at the legislative chamber about a month ago, talking with somebody from Lafarge, and when I asked him where he lived, he was living in Delmar, which is largely upwind of the cement plant. I am directly downwind, and I'm not the only person who's downwind of the cement plant. Most of the winds come from the northwest. There are many of us who are going to be breathing the air that is being affected by whatever is coming out of the smokestack from Lafarge. That includes all of Ravenna, all of Queens, all of New Baltimore, people in Columbia County. What's more important, the profits of this plant or the health of people who live in this area along the Hudson River? I think we need the clean air law. The plant has just spent over $400 million to upgrade in order to clean up the emissions from coal-fired firing. They are next to a 100-year supply of limestone. They're not going to go away from a high-quality source of raw materials. They have a direct line to the Hudson River, a port on the Hudson River that gives them very cheap transport to one of the biggest markets in the United States. Why would they leave here? They're not going to leave. They're using this excuse that their jobs will be lost and they're going to walk away as a way of scaring legislators and scaring politicians into saying, well, they must stay, we'll do whatever they ask. It is a bogus argument. We're a poor part of the river. And I suspect that is the reason that we are also seeing, from Catskill up to Glens Falls, increasing requests for new dump sites, new incineration, new places to store C&D waste, new places to put the ash from coal-fired power plants. All of this is coming into the Hudson River Valley in the past 2 or 3 years. Where is this epidemic coming from? And why us? Why are we putting all this poisonous stuff in a river that we are trying so hard to clean up? It doesn't make any sense. And why are we doing it at a time when what we have to do is improve the quality of our environment, not further degrade it? This is a very valuable stretch of the river environmentally. Let's stop the damage. And let's create something new. We can do much better. Let's create the ecological society that anybody in the US, anybody in the world will come to Upper Hudson Valley and say, we want to be like them. So let's create something much better. That's what I want to do.
However, we've known for some time that Lafarge has wanted to burn tires at their cement kiln. And shockingly, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the DEC, has already approved this without any thorough environmental review. They use something in the state regulations called a beneficial use determination, which is a loophole in state regulations that, for instance, if you had a lot of glass and you wanted to shred it up and use it as glass cullet to build roads, well, that's fairly benign, so you wouldn't have to do a full environmental impact statement on something like that. Well, Lafarge got state approval to come in with that very limited environmental review. So no environmental impact statement on burning tires. Lafarge is now saying, they've changed their story. They're saying they don't want to burn municipal solid waste, but they want to burn tires. And they really want to burn tires because it's going to be very lucrative for them. But unfortunately, it'll mean a massive amount of air pollution for those of us who want to breathe in the Hudson Valley, in the Capital District. And it's not just air pollution, because a lot of the contaminants will fall down into the Hudson River or surface water. For instance, the city of Albany Alcove Reservoir is not far from the cement kiln, and we don't want that air pollution falling on the city of Albany's drinking water source. So this is a double threat. It's a threat to our air quality, it's a threat to water quality, and it's completely unnecessary because there are much better ways to manage old tires. You can shred it and use it for landfill cover, which is currently happening in upstate New York. You can use it for consumer products like mud flaps on big trucks. That can be made from recycled rubber. You can use it for a variety of engineering applications, building culverts, using it in construction projects. You don't have to burn this material. The only thing we have available to us to protect our lungs and our environment from this pollution is passing a clean air bill through the Albany County Legislature that would prevent this type of environmental risk.